the market throws up some surprises. That's the bet that you take on an investor. In an early stage company, you take a bet on saying that is this team taking the right kind of thing. After that phase, your assumptions change to data-driven decisions. For the purpose of at least this talk today, we are focusing on the early stage, which is the starting of stage, where assumptions have a very important role. Just going on to the e-commerce thing, and I just made a list of what I think could be there. Could be 15 more, but these are the kind of competencies you need to have within that industry. Oh, I was the chief merchandiser of Amazon, and therefore I have now relocated to Chandigarh and I want to start an e-commerce business because I understand merchandising. Could be a good starting point, but is not it's a necessary but not sufficient condition for you to be successful. This or understanding how to get this done with somebody, or understanding whom to hire to get some of these things done, or even knowing that these are the things that need to be done is going to be what e-commerce business will, the success of an e-commerce business will take. We talked about this. How detailed should a business plan be? The question is, should it be a 50-page thing? Should it be a 10-page thing? Should it be a detailed Excel sheet? The Excel sheet has to be super detailed. Each unit has to be broken up not as a absolute number, but a cause and effect thing. If I spend X amount, I will reach X. If say for example the cost per click is 10 rupees and I spend a lakh of rupees, I will be able to reach 10,000 people. At 10,000 people, then you write your assumption saying that I assume 6% to register. That 6%. Out of the 6%, I expect 1% of those who have registered to sign up for my program, for the free program. So it has to be a very detailed thing in terms of cost structure. It can't be about my wage bill is going to be 8 people and average 25,000 rupees, and therefore that's a good enough, what you call the back of the envelope or a paper napkin, kind of a broad kind of a plan. But when you are working your plan on, you better have a very, that's an Excel sheet that we will look at it later. Yeah, Excel sheet has to be very detailed. What you will, the PowerPoint or a Word document is an interpretation of or an articulation of that Excel sheet and the business case, and that will be different from different people. Right from what you will call an elevator pitch, which is if you meet somebody at a conference and that happens to be the most important investor that you wanted to meet, and he has just a byway, passing from here to there, you can't explain to him a PowerPoint. You need to have a 1 or 2 line pitch saying that this is what we are doing, this is what the potential of the business case looks like this. That's what an elevator pitch is. If the expression came about in some way, if you have to travel in an elevator 10, 12 floors with somebody, that's the time available. What would you communicate about that process? I'll come to that in a second. Preliminary intros. If somebody is going to make an introduction, or if you're going to send an introduction to somebody, you have to send a 1 or 2 page thing. Nobody is going to look at it. It's almost like saying, in Bollywood you hear Shah Rukh Khan saying that, why did you sign this movie? I like the story. He's not read the script, the detail into mera dialogue, kya hai, this and that. After he likes the story, so the initial introduction is about telling somebody that, hey, I have a great story. And if he says, oh nice, I like this story, then he gets into the detailed thing, okay, send me some more information. If that makes sense, and say, okay, I'd now like to discuss investments with you, or a partnership with you, or coming on board. At that point of time, you have a more detailed presentation, which is an Excel sheet and stuff like that. Your job is to communicate the story in more and more detail at each subsequent. If you have not been able to communicate the potential of an idea in the first opening statement or the first 1 page or that, no amount of detailing is going to be of interest to this further. Why
basically catching the eye, or basically creating the interest.
Creating the interest on the basis of a business. And if you were to look at it purely, for the moment, if you were to look at it purely from an investor's point of view, you have to get their attention on the business case of what you are presenting, not on the basis of saying that I want to build India's largest portal for online music. Okay, it's a great statement of intent, but is that going to be say, wow, come, let me invest? Is not going to be a reaction. All he will say is wonderful, very nice, thank you, all the best, and you will move on. But on the other hand, if you want to say, hey, look, we created a plan for what seems to be a largest thing. We want to be get to about 10 million. We need your help. There is probably going to be some interest around that entire thing. How you present that business case is going to be very, very important. So we've come to the end of one session. Sunil here, how do you want to do that? Do you want to break now for a while, or should we? Just join here. This is the different stages. Assume that this is a reasonably successful company going in that direction. Each stage has a very different risk profile. Different investors come in at these different risks, and therefore your business plans that you present have to address different risks for different stages of the business. In the early stage, what are you saying? It's concept risk, execution risk. Concept is मतलब ये idea चलेगा कि नहीं चलेगा, ये team कर पाएगी कि नहीं कर पाएगी. Is a risk, right? In terms of nothing has been proven. All this is something very great, but will it work? Second is in terms of execution. Is this practical to implement? Will this work as happen? And there is a scale up risk. All these three risks are loaded at the first level. At the second level, the concept risk is usually gone. Saying, okay, we've done a pilot, things seem to be working, people have gone that minor adjustments are major adjustments, but we know what works and what does not work. This is what the beta product and final product and alpha, beta and all that kind of thing would happen. But still, the execution risk at the scale-up stage risk bringing. And the next one is about the whole scaling up of the business. Is this potential possible to scale? The first stage, the concept is about saying that proving, saying that let me see whether consumers are buying it, as a value proposition is sticking. You are trying all kinds of things. You don't have a process, you don't have anything. It's like, let me try to do it this way. Or this is very inefficient. Like the example I was giving about the food ordering company. They tried various things, they gave stickers that may have worked, may not work, fortunately it worked. So it's the whole concept of exploring and experimenting with very different things, sensibly though, and then arriving at something that will seem to work. At the first stage, you have flexibility of moving, saying, oh, this concept really didn't work, let me try and make the concept different, or this price point did not work, let me try to reduce the price point or increase the price point or do this and that and stuff like that. That's the flexibility that you have, a nimbleness of a startup that is required within that. As you move along, your product has been broadly refined or broadly, sort of frozen. Of course, the product keeps on changing, improving and like that. But at least from a very rough sketch, you know what is working. You are now fine-tuning that product rather than changing the product or changing the concept. From working in a jugaad fashion and experimenting various things, you figure out things that work, and now you are slowly building processes around that. And from flexibility of saying A/B try करते इसमें से क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा. They have now decided what works, what business model works. This is the way I'm going to do it. This is the price point, and you are now focusing an entire team to focus on it. You can see that assume that this is say for example a 12 to 24 month process or time period implementation. This could be another 2 years or so. Can you see a plan being different for the existing cases? What elements it contains? How it goes? This is very very good. Third stage is when you start building, now I'm trying to build this income, I will try to build operational efficiencies, increasing profitability, newer markets, newer capabilities, adjacent businesses, all the areas that open up. Those are the things that will happen at a scale-up stage. Why? Processes have been proven, the product has been proven, the growth rate is improving, there is a CEO or a COO in place who is taking care of that business. You as an entrepreneur can move on to doing it. The reason for putting up this slide is because more often than not, we don't focus on what needs to be proven in the first phase. We try to build in things like, I'm trying to make my business more efficient. Especially if you were to be an largely any business, but if you were to be in an online business and stuff like that, the first stages focus should be on how do I get to a million customers? How do I, if you are in B2B business, how do I get to the first 50, 100, whatever customers that is required? It is assumed and it is perfectly alright to say that my first phase of operation is going to be the most inefficient one. You flying to the US 5 times to sell to 5 customers is not a sustainable one. But in the first phase, to get your first 25 people, you might need to do that. It's okay. You don't have to focus on operational efficiency and saying how do I get my cost of customer acquisition down to 38 rupees to be able to service this customers efficiently. That you focus after you got enough scale. If you don't have a million customers, you don't have a business. In a B2B business, for example, in your business, if you were to say that, look, I need to be at least about 100 customers. If you don't get to that, in whichever manner that you can, most people try to cling onto these things and say I will try to reduce the cost here, I'll try to do something. Not necessary at this point. Of course, you try and reduce wherever it is practically possible, but not at the cost of making sure that this curve is going in the right direction. As a result, different people come in at different stages. That's where the angel investors or seed stage funds or early stage VCs would come in. At this level, different kinds of VCs. There are some VCs who come in at the early stage, there are some VCs who come in at the late stage. And the third one is when you will have private equity funds coming in. All of them get very different skill sets, different competencies and different models of engagement within the entire. Many times because people get their business plans done from a CA or some consulting company who can do a great business plan, they come to us with business plans which look like private equity stage business plans. And they make no sense to anybody at the starting stage, even if that business case makes tremendous amount of sense. Yeah, इसका operational efficiency से यहाँ देखिए करूँ क्या मैं? If I don't know whether it's 1% conversion or stuff, all of these are assumptions. On the basis of that, you work out an EBITDA, return on capital, and this and that, etc. It's all required at that stage. Here I figure out in terms of this is the money that I have or possibly will need. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it, and this is what I want to achieve in the first place. The business plan has to be detailed, but right for that phase, not detailed for the next phase. We will come to this section later. I think Sumir has made some arrangements for lunch. We can. Now we will do what is a business plan in terms of what are the components of a business plan that we use. I'll talk the components. All of these might be compressed into a 2-page document, or it would be a 50-page slider in terms of very elaborate. But these are broadly the components that you will cover. What I'm taking you through is a PowerPoint version of the document, is an articulation of what your business case is, which is the Excel sheet. And therefore, this has to be done early. The reason I'm taking you through this before the Excel sheet is because till you don't understand what the components are, it will be very difficult to understand the. It is also an iterative process. It doesn't mean that you've done something and you come and put it into a PowerPoint and it works, it doesn't work. You will also have different interpretations of that Excel sheet for different people. So for example, if you know that you're going to go and meet somebody from a fund like a Sequoia who believe in the company that invested in Beardlet, who believe in mass media advertising and therefore putting up money up front for scaling up and stuff like that, you will have a very different interpretation of that model that you will go to. If you know that you're going to be meeting some investors who are very conservative and building the foundation and getting the team into place and stuff like that, your interpretation will be different. The story will be similar and the reason is that it's not because you are giving them a story or a spin that they like, but the point is that there is no right or wrong answer. Somebody has to discover that answer jointly. You feel that this is a sensible direction for you to go. If you are able to convince them that your story and the stories that they like match, there is a possibility of a dialogue as well. The whole objective of business plan presentation, and now from now onward we are focusing slightly on what is the kind of business plan that you will do to present to an investor. The Excel sheet, when you go back later, again it will be about a plan for your business. So right now focusing on this. The objective of a business plan presentation to an investor is to help them understand the business case around it. The first meeting is about getting them excited about the story and the potential that you do, and the rest are about levels of detailing and would be important for you. When you are sending out a business plan presentation or giving it out, it is surprising how many plans come to us without any contact address. And the fact of life is this: somebody will see the business plan. At some stage, you would have transferred it onto a pen drive, onto a thing. Once in a fortnight, all these plans will get reviewed. Once in a month, an investment committee will sit and they'll say, this is such a nice plan. And we contact. There is no contact detail in 90% of the plans that we do. First slide, just put out company name. It is interesting to do a one-line descriptor of your company because it aligns everybody who goes into the presentation with what is it that I'm going to listen to. Many people start off that first line with not just a descriptor of the business, but how large global business we want to improve the quality of education in the world. That doesn't mean anything to anybody unless you specifically say that this is what I'm going to do. The investor in that meeting is then aligned with, okay, this is what I'm going to understand. He or she starts creating his own framework in terms of what the potential looks like and adjusts everything. One investor had given me a very different perspective. They were asking, what does your mind work on? He said, even a doctor had once told me, that's what he said, that when a patient comes in, I have already in the first 30 seconds made up my mind in terms of what he or she is suffering from. My line of questioning for the next 30 minutes is just to validate my hypothesis and then eliminating the chances of something else. Similarly, think about it yourself as well. If you had 50 languages to give to somebody else and they came to them, you are likely to create your own assumptions about what the business case or what the business potential of that is. But everything that the person says either has to support or contradict and therefore challenge you with the thinking and prove that you know more than him, or if he or she knows more about your business and then you're aligned with, and there will be some room for discussion. It is unlikely that everybody or anybody will agree to the business plan in exactly the same way. Your own partners may necessarily not. Business partners and the co-founders etc. may not as well, but that's okay. A business plan is a document that you broadly agree upon and say, okay, these are the areas that we need still to work on, these are the areas in green, these are the areas in orange, these are the areas in red. The first part therefore has to be a one-line description, clearly outlining what you do. It's not a test of articulation, it's a test of communicating what you do. In the first slide or first couple of slides, when I say first slide, it doesn't, again, this entire thing can be compressed into 2 pages. This entire thing can be stretched into 50, depending on how much time you have and what is the intent of that. A group like an Indian Angel Network typically gives you 20 minutes for a presentation for the first interaction. Out of that, 10 to 12 minutes is supposed to be your presentation, 8 to 10 minutes then later on is going to be for Q&A. In that, you cannot do a 50-point presentation. Therefore, the intent of that presentation to explain broadly speaking, क्या कर रहे हो, कैसे कर रहे हो, इसमें पैसे कैसे लगे, मोटा मोटी in terms of. These are the